Hi, it's Brian Newman with the Spotlight of Business Owner Show, and today we're thrilled to have Nancy Paul. She's with Oasis Senior Advisors. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Brian. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, before we get started into Oasis, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I became a registered nurse in 2004. So I have an extensive background in healthcare. Um, we at the time were living in Philadelphia, and I started working on a cardiopulmonary unit in the hospital as a nurse. Um, I always just had a love to serve people and help families, and did that for a number of years. Went to graduate school in 2010 to be an advanced practice nurse midwife. Moved across the country at the same time with a 3 and a 1-year-old while going to
Oh,
grad school away from our family.
uh-huh.
And then started my own midwifery practice, my midwifery business. And then just recently decided to dive into the senior space. So purchased Oasis Senior Advisors of Scottsdale. And I really feel that, having a heart to serve seniors in their time of need and placement and transition has just been a wonderful addition to to our lives.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I think it's a great field that you're in. You know, I know I went through a similar situation when we had to place my father into a home, and it's a very emotional, very stressful time of life that people go through. But so what inspired you to start the Oasis Senior Advisors of Scottsdale?
Yeah, it's very much like you said, like when you have a personal experience. So we have helped our families, family members and friends and things like that with, because just being in healthcare, I knew that there were services like that, but surprised at how many people don't even realize that these services are available. We want to take some of the stress off of that transition for people, especially in places, like the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. There's so many different communities and so many different available options that if you're just going on the internet, it's like, oh my gosh, overwhelming. And a lot of times I find that people aren't being as proactive because they're like, oh, I'm this age or I'm this age, I've got time. And so um, we help people to be proactive in their timeline as well. Because right now, what I'm finding, it's more somebody's daughter's responsible for this, or somebody's nephew, or whatever, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
stressful because you're making a huge life decision for a loved one. And so we help. I was inspired to help. One, not only educate people on the services we have available that are complementary to families. This is not something that a family is paying out of their pocket directly for, which I think is really amazing. And so that education piece, educating and empowering the families that this even exists, and then to being with them every step of the way to alleviate some of that stress. I feel like having my healthcare background is also pretty advantageous, just because, serving as a nurse and a provider for so many years, I understand that side of it too. It's not just a business, it's about relationships and building relationships. And these families really, these individuals really become part of our family. Like we have a vested interest in who they are and where they're going to be. And we want to see them happy, just as like we'd want to see our grandparents happy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. You know, I went onto your website and it's quite informative. Yeah, I just want to let people know again, we're talking to Nancy Pohl. She's with Oasis Senior Advisors. Nancy, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So yeah, either our website, which is oasissenior.advisors.com /Scottsdale. Our direct office number is 480-601-1083, or you can email us at J as in John, N as in Nancy, POL, like our last name, at youraoasisadvisor.com.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Yeah, so while I was on the website, I know you have a lot of services that you provide. Can you mention to the viewers some of the services?
Yeah. So we specialize in senior housing. I kind of it's kind of like a real estate agent for seniors in a way, where we're specializing in assisted living, independent living, memory care. Respite care, which is short term. So, say you have a caregiver that normally comes into your home, but that caregiver needs to go on vacation and the family can't make up for those services or that time. So we place them just temporarily in a space so everybody can have their vacation and their time, and mom or dad or your loved one still gets taken care of. So that's what we specialize in. Then we also have trusted brand partners. So if someone's not quite ready to leave the home that they know and love, and they want outside services, so they want someone coming into their home, either for just visiting, just helping out, just checking in, or nursing type care, physical therapy, occupational therapy, hospice services, palliative care. We have trusted brand partners that we work with for referrals on that as well.
Oh, okay.
In
Yeah.
addition to, sometimes you're getting to this point and say someone they're eligible for veterans benefits, or they have a long-term plan that they set up years ago and they don't know how to navigate that. Oasis has trusted partners that we're able to get you to the right people. I always tell people, if I don't have an answer for it, because I don't know everything,
Uh-huh.
we know someone that does.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's yeah, I know it was quite an array of services, and I didn't know the difference between like independent living or a retirement community
Mhm.
versus, like memory care. But you know what? When people are like living out of town, I know there's a lot of snowbirds here. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of people that live in other states that are contemplating moving here. Would you also like work with them to relocate out of town?
Yeah, we actually just relocated someone recently. She moved from Wisconsin and wanted some warmer weather. So I'd say
I
Scottsdale's
don't blame her.
a pretty
Yeah.
good pick. So we worked with her. Oasis is a national brand, so we have franchise owners all over the country. So chances are that you have an advisor in your area, not just here in Scottsdale. It's just not local to here. It's national. But we do help. So when somebody is interested and they say they're living in Wisconsin and they're like, I want to go to Arizona, they would search in the area, they would find us. Because the other advantage to that is we're in the community. We know these communities. We go and we visit them. We tour them and we ask questions that you may not think of. It helps us to, with our proprietary software, we use something called Oasis IQ. So we take into account not only where you want to live and of course your budget, your insurance and your benefits, but outside of that, what are all the little things? What's important to you? Is it important to be close to shopping, that you can walk there? Is it important to be close to, hiking or the theater or a dog park? Can you bring your
Hmm.
dog? All of those little things that you're not going to find out in just an internet search. And on top of that, we are someone that works with you from that initial inquiry to the time that you move in and beyond. We're always calling our families, just checking in. How was your move? What's new? How's it going? Because if that family is happy, that's what's important to us. It also shows that it reduces admissions to the hospital. It reduces extra costs for that individual or the family, because it's if they're in a place where they're happy and well cared for, you're not going to have those recurrent issues happening when they're in a trusted place that they're being cared for.
Oh, okay. Okay, speaking of cost, I know,
Mhm.
yeah, when I was reading on your website, the cost of what you guys do, uh, it's amazing that you offer your services for free. Is that
Mhm.
true?
Yeah, so it's free to the family. So there's no out-of-pocket cost, whether we talk to you once for 30 minutes, which is not common, or
Uh-huh.
or for 3 months or even 3 years, how we get paid. And there's a disclosure to the families we're working with. There's actually a form that you sign off on, that once that family is placed in the community, we have agreements with these communities. And we have agreements with a number of different communities. So we are not a placement service that only has agreements with X, Y, or Z, and you go there regardless of what's best. We have agreements with pretty much all of them in the area, so that we're able to find what's best for you, not what works for us or what we already have in place. If we come across a community that's in our territory, we serve Scottsdale, Mesa, Fountain Hills, Cave Creek, and Phoenix. If there's a community in our territory that we don't have a contract with, we reach out to them. We say, we have a family that's interested in your community. We build out a profile for them, for the family, and the community. It gets sent to them. They get to see it as well, but it'll give you everything. It's kind of like the MLS for senior housing. So when you're going to buy a house and they have all the little details and they have the pictures, and this can become interactive too. So if the community has a link where you can take a virtual tour, we link it right there. And then it's all there together for you in one place on one page, where the communities that are best fit for you or your loved one are emailed directly to you. And then so we work with that community to have that, that partnership and that agreement to place that individual. And then we are paid from the community after move-in. And we're really transparent about that. So they know ahead of time, and obviously the communities know because we have the agreements with them. So it's a certain percentage of their first month of placement.
No, I think that's great. Also, again, I want to remind the viewers, we're talking to Nancy Pohl. She's with Oasis Senior Advisors, and she can be reached by calling 480-601-1083 or going to her website, which is, what is that one?
So it's oasissenior.advisors.com/Scottsdale.
Oh, okay. Okay. The pandemic, how has that affected your business for the past year?
So interestingly, we are new advisors to Oasis Scottsdale. We came into this onboarding process in October.
Oh, wow.
We kind of feel like when everybody, 2020 was quite a year, don't get me wrong. But we consider 2020 a year of incredible blessing in our life as business owners, because it was something that it was a little hesitation for us at first. We were like, what do we do? Like, what if we can't get into a community? What if people, but people are always going to pick up the phone. People are always going to, be open to like Zoom or, whatever. And things are opening up a lot more, with precaution and whatever. But it's actually been, I think, really amazing to be able to, again, it's such a stressful time for a lot of people, but to kind of have that, okay, this community is doing this. These are their COVID, restrictions. These are the measures they're taking. Like, we know all of those firsthand. We're calling these communities. We're getting the latest and greatest updated information. And I think that alleviates a lot of stress off of families, that we can have those answers for them. What is their vaccination, what are their dates? When is their, all of that stuff. So while initially for us coming into new business ownership, I was kind of like, how's this going to go? It's actually been really great. And it's, we're kind of like face-to-face people. We want to know you, we want to meet you, we want to see you. And we've showed up at communities, even just standing in the parking lot, and people have been super receptive because they miss that interaction and connection. And so, with taking safe precautions, we're still able to form really amazing relationships. And we've actually had, they say when you start out, don't think you're going to have placements in that first, maybe even 4 months, because you're getting out, you're getting in the communities, you're building the communities, all that stuff. We've been able to place people. My first placement was in 21 days of starting, and that was an out of state placement. So things happened really quickly, and it's just whatever that family needed. The tours, the time, the answering the phone at any time. That's what we're here for. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, just
I'd say
one final
successful
question.
despite the current state of the world.
Okay. Oh, wow. No, so one final question. Yeah, I mean, I know there's probably a lot of referral and placement advisors, but what sets yours apart from
Yeah.
the other ones?
I think it goes back to that education piece. We try to get out there and tell people from the very beginning, when you're opening up your computer and turning on your internet and going to search, you have to be careful. Like when you put your name and email and phone number, that sometimes by certain internet companies is blasted out into these communities. You talk to those people for 15 minutes and then you never hear from them again. They will get paid
Oh, wow.
regardless of if they are talking with you or not. So you have to be careful. I think, we're in the communities. Like I said, we know these communities, we tour them, we ask the hard questions, we put things together. If there's a community, even though it's in our territory and even though they would pay for placement and it doesn't meet our standards, we're like, nope, sorry, we're HIPAA compliant. We have a proprietary software that, like I said, takes into account not only like your demographics and your insurance and your financial budget, but all of those little things. Like for instance, I had a family whose mom really is into Art Deco. She's a championship bridge player. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's an amazing community in Scottsdale I think she would love. And so
Uh-huh.
she went and toured it, and it's Art Deco and bridge room. And she's probably running the table up there, you guys, because I've heard some great stories about her. But like, how would you know that off the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's like you get chills, like those kind of stories. So it's about finding that right place and the continued support along the way. And like I said, if we don't do it, we know somebody that does. So hey, my mom has this policy, I don't know what this means or how to navigate it. So we reach out to a trusted referral partner and we get you in contact with them. We help kind of to just get everything in place. When somebody's moving into a community, they need an assessment, and that kind of goes back to that level of care. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
what dad needs, like, and that
Yeah.
person, that nurse at the community does that assessment. They also need paperwork signed off by their physician. So if the family's having a hard time getting that or whatever, we call and, we, again, just trying to alleviate that stress. So on the intake, having that initial conversation to setting up and scheduling tours with the communities. We do that all for them. We tour with them, especially for people that this is their first time looking into senior housing. It can feel so stressful to be like, oh my gosh, I hope I pick out the right place for mom, or to help her pick out the right place, right? And so we start asking questions and pointing out different things that you may not think of, because you haven't had to do this before. So we're just dedicated to that process, trustworthy, very objective in the process, because things can get pretty emotionally attached too, right? And so
Uh-huh.
trying to just be a source from minute one when you call all the way to the end, and then beyond, checking in with you over the years.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, yeah, for our viewers, again, you just heard why it's good to use Oasis Senior Advisors. I mean, it sounds like a great company, and no, I wish you guys the best. I wish I would have known about you, several years ago when we were confronted with having to place my father. I mean, you guys would have made it so easy for us. But anyways, I encourage everyone viewing, reach out to Nancy and her company. She can be reached again at 480-601-1083. And yeah, she's basically got some nice accommodations for your loved ones. So again, thank you, Nancy, for being on the show. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.